Richardson is in for his first touchdown.
Back in Indianapolis, the third member of our crew on the sideline today. We welcome in Brad Johansson.
Kevin, it's going to be a next man up theme for the Colts defense today. Sergio Brown will start at free safety for LaRon Landry. He is down for the next 4 weeks, suspended for PEDs. He is their second leading tackler. Big shoes to fill for Brown. The good news is Jarrell Freeman, their weak side linebacker, back in the starting lineup. Much more athletic at that spot. Colts will need him today against the Ravens offense that has really found its stride over the last 3 weeks. Kevin?
Thank you, Brad. The Ravens won the toss. They have deferred. The Colts will receive. That means we'll see Luck in the offense and Griff Whalen, who will return the kickoff for Indianapolis, with the kickoff coming from the Ravens' Justin Tucker. So 3 straight wins for Baltimore. They took care of Carolina last week, 38-10. And the Colts beat Tennessee here last week, 41-17. This one's going to go out of the end zone. The touchback will take it to the 20, where it will be first down and 10. And here is Luck, the top-rated passer, Rich Gannon, in the NFL.
And he's on a roll right now, Kevin. Just watching him practice and play and prepare. They're going to call the play from the boundary. They're just going to go out and jump the football. This is going to be, I think, their toughest challenge to date. They have not played a front seven as good and as physical as the Baltimore Ravens.
Now, why would they call the play on the sideline and not just do it on the field and huddle up out there?
Well, they may go up-tempo. They may try and press the line of scrimmage a little bit, jump the football. It makes it difficult for Dean Pease, the Ravens defensive coordinator, to make substitutions and dial up those pressures.
Luck right to work on 1st and 10 outside to Richardson. And with the beat him on outside is Courtney Upshaw. He starts for Canty. There was no gain on the play. The offensive line has played well for the Colts, but 3 changes in the interior today. Rookie free agent Jonathan Harrison with his first career start. Thornton back at the right guard and Lewis at the left side. Running back Trent Richardson has found his stride since coming over from Cleveland last year. He and Ahmad Bradshaw have been incredibly effective for this offense. It is a 2nd down and 10 for Andrew Luck. And on a quick slant, Hakeem Nicks brought down by Webb near the 29, picks up 9 on that 2nd down throw.
And when you're concerned about protection, the best thing you can do is play fast. Get the ball out quick to your receivers. I think we're going to see a lot of these quick 3-step throws from Andrew Luck, especially early.
Seems like Luck has about as many weapons, Rich, as he's ever had here.
And they do such a great job utilizing all of them, Kevin. Tight ends, running backs, wide receivers in the passing game, and ball distribution. Each of the last 2 weeks, 9 different receivers have had multiple receptions.
The 3 in the secondary. Here they go with Bradshaw. Has the first down. Brought down by Darian Stewart. Picks up 20, up to the 49. Good open field tackle, but a great run by Ahmad Bradshaw.
Well, nothing fancy here. This is just a little fullback belly run. Bradshaw is lined up as the fullback, and they do a great job. The center gets up on the linebacker, Darrell Smith, and they just turn Ahmad Bradshaw loose on the secondary. I thought they'd have a real challenge running the football inside against this Baltimore defense.
5 in that Ravens secondary, including rookie Terrence Brooks. It is a 1st and 10. Shirless trying to get the block, and he does. On Upshaw. That is Reggie Wayne. Brought down by Stewart. Picks up 21. Another Colt first down to the 30 of Baltimore.
Well, I just love, you'll see Luck. He's just going to slide a little bit and buy some time in the pocket. Talked about stepping up and just giving himself some extra time. He knows where he's protected inside between the center and guard gaps. The pressure comes from the edge. With Suggs and Dumerville, he's going to have to step up inside.
And he's 3 of 3 to 3 different receivers. Good start for him. Game's first drive. They're the 1st and 10. Blocked by Richardson. Great time for Luck, and then Trent releases. Nada's got a beat on him down to the 25-yard line. He picks up 5 on that play. He may have been the last option. Haloti Ngata just made that tackle, anchors the defense that's allowed the 2nd fewest points. Rookie linebacker C.J. Mosley leads Baltimore in tackles. Egan Smith very good inside. And quarterback Ladarius Webb is in the lineup, bothered by a sore back, missed the preseason. He only played 4 snaps this year coming into today. Here's second down and a long 4. And Richardson remains. And 4 in the Baltimore secondary. Outside easy there for Wayne. Was he in? Incomplete. Although he caught it, Asa Jackson was defending across the way.
Well, the timing wasn't great. Looked like Andrew Luck was trying to rush that. He knew he was a little bit late. Either the receiver wasn't deep enough or Luck took an extra step. Talk about how important timing and rhythm is in the passing game.
Ravens in the nickel. 7th play of the drive. It's 3rd and 4 for Luck. Underneath, T.Y. Hilton. Brought down by Smith inside the 21. Picks up 3. And now a decision on 4th and short.
Well, we saw Chuck Pagano kick an onside kick last week in the first quarter against Tennessee. I think he's sending a message to the football team that we are going to be aggressive. And we have confidence in the big guys up front.
So how about this drive, Rich? They got a 9-yard pass to Nix, a 20-yard run by Bradshaw, and a 21-yard pass to Reggie Wayne.
They do a really good job, Kevin, getting everybody involved early. I always think it's important for your playmakers to touch the ball early in games.
Extra offensive lineman is in. 3 tight ends, Bradshaw. And let's see if he was able to carve his way for a first. Very close. You see the group that makes the stop, including at the bottom of that line, Lawrence Guy. He is the last guy to get up. Let's be close.
They've got some changes inside along that offensive line. You've got a rookie playing center in Jonathan Harrison. You've got the veteran Lance Lewis playing for the injured Uhort.
We also had Joe Wright, 76, come in to add more beef on the left side of that line for the Indianapolis Colts. It's interesting that Luck is hardly even touched throughout this season, yet they've changed the interior of that offensive line.
Well, I think part of it, you know, some of the credit has to go to the offensive coordinator. Also to Luck, Kevin, I think he's very aware of his surroundings. He knows where he's vulnerable. He understands protections, and he always seems to know where his quick answer throw is.
You're right. High short.
Wow.
Short by almost the length of a football.
Big stop.
On downs, it goes over to Baltimore. The Raven defense does its job. Up next, Flacco and the Baltimore O. The Colts, while we were away, challenged the spot, and so it's being reviewed by Walt Anderson.
After reviewing the play, runner's forward progress was stopped short of the line to gain. The ruling on the field stands. It's first down Baltimore. Indianapolis will be charged with its first timeout.
When you go back and look at it, initially, Bradshaw just keeps pumping and churning those legs. He actually lands on another player, a Ravens player. Then you see the push there at the end. Now the question is, his knee doesn't necessarily have to be down. He can be down as he's tackled there, and they call forward progress. And I think that's what happened in that situation. After the whistle blows, you see him push forward a little bit for an extra half a yard.
And they lose a timeout because they lost the challenge. On downs, it goes to Flacco. First time we've seen him first and 10. And he finds Smith, who coughs it up, and it may have been reeled in. Was it a catch, number 1? And it was grabbed on the bounce by Montori Hughes. They have ruled it a turnover. As Steve Smith caught it and coughed it up.
Boy, Mike Adams has made a couple of big plays last week, and now this week he comes in. He's the first one in there. He strips the ball. When you see Hughes, he's just right there for the easy scoop up. I think he's got possession. He's taken a step forward. He never feels the safety on his back. You see Mike Adams, he sees the quarterback the whole way. He's able to get that left hand in there and rip it out.
Question is now, did he make the football move? Did he have the ball? Did he make a move after it? And so all turnovers, of course, reviewed. And that's the pause we have now. Yeah, Adams has been a nice addition, hasn't he?
Yeah, a couple interceptions last week, and coming over from Denver a season ago.
Richardson in the backfield on 1st down and 10. Tries to ply his way inside, and Darrell Smith is the one to bring him down. Led Baltimore in tackles a season ago. It's a gain of 2 to the 20.
Well, this is a very good Baltimore front seven, highlighted by some real depth and talent at the linebacker position. Been a big fan of C.J. Mosley. He was the best linebacker in the draft. And, of course, you look at last year, I thought Darrell Smith really played well inside for the Ravens.
This is the #1 red zone offense in pro football. 2nd down and 8. Niftily moving up, Luck trying to go for Allen. And the coverage in the middle of the field by rookie Terrence Brooks. 3rd and 8.
Yeah, something's got to give, Kevin. You mentioned the Colts is the #1 offense. The Ravens have the #1 red zone defense. They've been very stingy in this part of the field.
They have more trips to the red zone. Does this Indianapolis offense than any. This is the 21st they've had. #1 red zone touchdown. Points scored. 3rd and 8. Bradshaw in.
Low side 7, low. Easy. 70. Easy. Low side 7, low. Reset.
5 defensive backs. Luck. Pushed Wayne. No yellow. Webb was defending on the play. They've had a lot of battles over the years. Lardarius Webb back and playing, and they were going for Wayne.
Well, you see it right at the top of your screen.
What do you think?
You know, look, everyone makes a big deal about it. They're screaming here in Indianapolis. I mean, I think it was uncatchable, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make that catch. And it looks like Webb, he's just trying to make a play on the ball. Although he does go through the back of Reggie Wayne.
Adam Vinatieri perfect this season in 8 tries. Here is a 38-yarder. The 41-year-old, 19-year veteran puts the Colts on the board. They cash in on a fumble by Steve Smith on a 38-yard field goal by Adam Vinatieri.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Toyota Care. Scheduled maintenance, no cost. And by Bud Light, who reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly.
Ravens hold again. Rich, you just said they've got the #1 red zone defense.
Yeah, big stop after a sudden change of possession. The offense goes out and turns it over in the first play. The defense is able to hold them to a field goal. That's a win for that Ravens defense.
So the Colts are going to kick off a 38-yard field goal moments ago by Adam Vinatieri, although the kickoff chores are handled by Pat McAfee, who is #1 in the NFL in touchbacks. Big-time leg in Jacoby Jones. They'll take it 7 yards deep and bring it out. Always electrifying. Jacoby Jones near the 20-yard line on a return of 27. This takes us to the quarterback, Joe Flacco. And as we talked about before, Rich, as you told us, he's off to a very strong start to the season.
Well, he is, and I think one of the reasons why, Kevin, is they're doing a better job protecting him. He got hit way too much last year. They were too soft inside. He threw a franchise record 22 interceptions. Protection's been so much better, and you can just see the confidence. You see him stepping up more inside and letting it go.
Base defense for Indy, 1st and 10 for Flacco. Forsett trying to find a seam and brought down on the play by Sergio Brown. And it's a gain of 8. Now they're up to the 28-yard line. As Rich said, the offensive line hasn't allowed a sack in 3 games. Jeremy Zuta, one of the reasons why, along with 2 good guards. Running back by committee for the Ravens, Justin Forsett, Renzo Taliaferro, and they get Bernard Pierce back today. 2nd down, short 2. Forsett is in. And Redding and a couple others. Verner making the stop and a gain of 1 up to the 29-yard line. A familiar name for Ravens fans. Corey Redding on the defensive line. Jean-Francois replaces the injured Arthur Jones, another former Raven. DeQuell Jackson coming off a terrific game last week in his first year with the Colts. And cornerback Vontae Davis has played as well as any defensive back in pro football. Sergio Brown replaces the suspended LaRon Landry. We heard that from Brad to start our game. Change in the secondary. 3rd and 1. And it's Flacco. Here comes Redding. There goes Flacco. Back to the 17 and a loss on the play of 11. Make it 12. They got a punt.
Well, Corey Redding just beats Osemele right off the snap. Joe Flacco's got no chance as he tries to set his feet. He's got big number 90 staring down the barrel. Good rush inside by Corey Redding.
Redding with her 2nd sack of the season. First sack given up by Baltimore since week 1. Sam Cook will punt. Roof is open, but the sides are closed. No hang time. Whalen lets it bounce. He misjudged it from the 35. Back to the 15. Then brings it back in. And Trowick among a couple to bring him down. 68-yard punt, but a lot of it a roll and a bad judgment by Whalen. A sack by Redding. Flacco hasn't bitten the dirt much this season, but he does right there. 7:35 in the first. Ravens with a couple of elite pass rushers aiming at luck today.
Yeah, when you're the Colts, typically you're worried about one edge rusher, but in the case of the Ravens, they've got 2 really good ones, Suggs and Doomerville. They've combined for 19.5 sacks a season ago, Kevin, and they can bring it, and they're relentless. And that's going to be a real challenge for both of these tackles today. Got to be able to set the edge and contain those rushers.
Nickel secondary for Baltimore. Luck with the 1st and 10. Right on the screws. Caught by Hilton. Covered across the way by Brooks, but out of bounds. And incomplete.
Well, I'm not surprised to see him move the pocket early. Remember now, you've got to deal with these edge rushers. And so you move the pocket a little bit. It helps the tackles. You get some double teams at the point of attack. But for some reason now, it's twice now, Kevin, we've seen Luck miss on the boundary. Look like they're late. We always say if you wait, you're late.
Angelo Tyson is coming on the defensive line. 2nd down and 10. Bradshaw. And he was hit by Tyson and a couple others. It is a gain of 4. He is up to the 18-yard line. Our first trip to New York in James Brown.
Giants capitalize on a sustained drive. Eli Manning picking up right where he left off last Thursday night, or 2 Thursday nights ago, against the Washington Redskins. This time 3 yards to Reuben Randall. They take a 7-0 lead. That's how you catch the football, JB, with your hands. Capping an 11-play, 83-yard drive. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and Brad Johansson.
Boy, I'd love to play against that Atlanta defense right now, Kevin. They can't stop anybody.
3rd down and 6.
Heck, I could throw it for 300 yards against those guys.
Luck looks at the nickel. Wayne underneath, but short. Boy, read well that time by Jimmy Smith. Reggie Wayne, the first time since 2012 where he does not convert a 3rd down catch to a 1st down. And one of the reasons why, the play right there of Jimmy Smith and the Colts have got a punt.
What's that, 32 straight 3rd down conversions?
Unbelievable number.
It's amazing.
He's about as smart as they come. Jones is back. And McAfee, the #1 punter in the NFL and the AFC Player of the Month in special teams, gets it away. Jones misplayed it. May have touched him. May have touched him. Well, the Colts have it, and let's see if it did. Did it graze Jones? They say on the field that it did. And it was recovered on the play by Colt Anderson.
Well, that's twice now, Kevin. We saw Whalen misplay it, and now Jacoby Jones. It's tough to tell from that angle whether or not it actually catches any part of his body. That's one they're going to have to take a look at.
Remember a couple of years ago, Kyle Williams of San Francisco playing the Giants, had it graze off him in the NFC Championship game? Kind of like this. Wow. So the Colts, boy, Jacoby Jones has really had a tough stretch. They haven't gone to him lately. He hasn't had a catch. It is under review. He hasn't had a catch in the last 2 games. He's dropped some passes, and now this may have grazed him and turned it back over to the Colts.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today. And by Domino's. Visit Domino's.com.
They have ruled him off from
After
Jacoby
reviewing the
Jones.
play, the ruling on the field stands. First down, Indianapolis.
Second turnover for the Baltimore Ravens.
Well, you go back and look at it. We've looked at it a number of times during the break, Kevin. I don't know that you can say one way or another whether this ball actually touches him. I don't see the ball ricochet. It just looks like it barely, well, it's just really hard. We looked at it 3 or 4 different times at different angles. It's really tough to tell.
3 tight ends for Luck. And Doyle, who is from the Indy area, was moving on the left side.
False start, number 84, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Well, he's worried about having to block Pernell McPhee.
These tight ends are pretty important for Luck in this offense.
Well, they do a great job, Kevin, utilizing all of them, and they all have a different role, but they're interchangeable. That's the great thing. So whether it's Dwayne Allen or Kobe Fleener, even Jack Doyle, they all have a different role each week. Luck does a great job getting all of them touches.
First and 15 into the nickel. Richardson, nice big hit coming off this side. Darian Stewart, free agent from St. Louis, allowing a gain of a yard to the 35. Pass defense for the Ravens, Rich, number 14 in the NFL.
And this is really where you got to be on your P's and Q's. Nobody puts their hand in the ground hard. Everyone's standing around, walking around. The pre-snap recognition, identification, and communication is going to be critical for Luck and the Colts.
With a second 14, drilled on the play by Mosley and picked off for a second time by Nada. He's the only guy that has a pick in the secondary. The linebackers or the defensive line. For the entire defense, Nada has his second interception, the 5th of his career. And on that turnover, Baltimore gets it back.
You know what happens is you get so concerned about the edge rushers that it's somebody up inside that actually gets the hit on the quarterback.
Mosley.
Actually, C.J. Mosley comes late, and holding Nada, as you mentioned, Ken. They only had the one interception coming into this game, and that was from Nada. Luck never feels Mosley scrape and come late. That's the green dog. When he sees the back block, he blitzes.
It's a 1st and 10 throw near midfield. Brought down by Toller. That is Torrey Smith with his 9th reception of the year. It is a gain of about 10 and close to a first down.
Kind of an unusual first quarter. I mean, both of these teams well coached, very disciplined. They don't turn the football over. We've already seen a bunch of turnovers here in the first quarter.
Our officiating crew, headlined by Walt Anderson, will discuss it. It was kind of a questionable spot, I thought. Didn't you, Rich, where they put that ball? And
yeah, I think you're coming in to talk about it.
He caught it at the 50. Let's see.
The ruling on the field is a first down. Baltimore.
The first down. So a 10-yard pickup by wide receiver Torrey Smith. Called a gain of 11. Taliaferro is in on 1st and 10. Able to get to that defense and brought down by veteran DeQuell Jackson. It is a gain of 2 to the 47. Hey fans, access all of today's football action on the go. Download the award-winning CBS Sports app now for instant scores, breaking news, video, and more. All on your phone. 2nd down and 8. 4 in the secondary for Indy. Look out. Verner comes from the side, brings down Flacco back at the 47. So Flacco goes 3 consecutive games without getting sacked. He's been sacked twice in the first quarter in Indy today.
Well, they better figure out how to block Corey Redding. He is creating some problems right now. They're not blocking him, and then they turn Justin Forsett loose on big Corey Redding. That's a mismatch. It's bad scheme. They turn the line down and they cut Corey Redding loose on the smaller Justin Forsett.
5 in the secondary, 3rd and 15. They need the 38. Burner again. Flacco keeps it alive. Double team, going deep and incomplete. Looking for Torrey Smith with the coverage by Sergio Brown. 4th and 15. Ravens have got a punt.
We talked about how the Ravens have been doing such a good job protecting Joe Flacco. Kevin, I mean, he's running around for his life out there right now. I mean, if it's not coming off the edge, it's coming up inside. Pretty much throws that one away to avoid a sack.
Cook to punt again, and Griff Whalen is back at about the 10-yard line for Indy. Colts have had some terrific opportunities to score with great beginning field position, have not cashed in. High and fair caught, 16-yard line. All right, the clock at 3:19, 42-yard punt right there. We're in the first. Colts on top by 3. Another look at Luck next. Colts with 2 drives and plus territory. They only get 3 points. The Baltimore D is there.
Yeah, they got a big stop and held them for a field goal. And then, of course, they come up with a huge turnover on interception by Haloti Ngata.
5 in front for Baltimore on the last possession. It's 1st and 10. Ahmad Bradshaw. And he was hit by Brandon Williams on a gain of 4 to the 19. A lot of things going on here.
Well, it's been a frantic first quarter, and really neither team has been able to get in the rhythm. Smith fumbles on the first offensive play for the Ravens. Jones muffs a punt. And then a big hit by C.J. Mosley on Andrew Luck. Forces an errant throw right into the arms of Haloti Ngata. Sometimes, Kevin, when it's this crazy, you just got to take a deep breath and start putting some plays together.
Bradshaw 2nd down and 6. Tries to go inside. Smith wraps him up, and he gets maybe a half yard near the 20-yard line. So as a quarterback, when you're in that huddle, are you saying basically
absolutely
that to your team?
I think you just say, hey, everybody relax. Let's get our shorts on straight, and let's realize that we just got to find our rhythm again. The game plan's not going to change. It's a 3-0 game, but that's tough sometimes when you have these sudden changes of possession in a game.
Miles has come in the secondary. They have 5 for Baltimore. With a 3rd and 6, the block by Fleener. Time for Luck. They've got Reggie Wayne. He's out near the 32. He was ridden down by Asa Jackson. He picks up 11. He's got the first down.
Well, they're going to keep the tight end in, Kobe Fleener, and the back to help in protection. So you're only getting 3 out in the route. But Luck's got plenty of time. You see all those extra hitches. And a perfect throw in the flat. You see Fleener, he's blocking on Doomerville. You've got Bradshaw in as well. He's blocking on Mosley. Very protection conscious. The Ravens see a ton of 7-man protections because of the pass rush.
3 tight ends. They help block for Bradshaw. Brought down by Jimmy Smith. Good burst, 9 yards. He's up near the 40-yard line, 41.
He has really played well. You see Fleener, he's going to get a nice block as he comes across in motion. Comes off the edge, and he does a nice job kicking out on the corner.
1st and 10 up the middle. Williams going deep and looking for Hilton, and broken up on the play by Darian Stewart. As Hilton was flying down the middle. It'll be 2nd down and 10.
Well, you want to eliminate these poor decisions. I mean, this is a poor decision by Andrew Luck into double coverage. You've got the corner trailing and the safety there to make a play on Hilton.
That was a 2nd one. It is 3rd and 1. I'll correct myself. Rich, you were talking about hitches for Luck. I thought there was a two-hitch rule.
There's a two-hitch rule today against the Ravens. I said the one thing you cannot do against this defense is take the extra hitch. That's a mistake by the center.
Weird play, and they have a new center. He's a rookie free agent today. Jonathan Harrison, undrafted out of Florida. He was making his first career start.
And sometimes, Kevin, you forget the snap count, even if you're the center. I mean, it happens. You're going to see Andrew. Oh, don't want that. He snaps
so
it.
Luck did the right thing.
Yeah, what else you going to do?
Yeah. It all begins with the center. They've had A.Q. Shipley, a former Raven, who started for Baltimore for a bit. New player back now to retrieve the punt is Lardarius Webb. Inside the 20-yard line.
Well, it's good to get him back. He had that herniated disc in training camp and he's been shut down a while.
McAfee. Oh, he sends up a rocket. And with a great bounce. And down at the, well, inside the 5, they'll say at the 4. Purifoy, 56-yarder. Hang time of 4.7. That's right. You can do whatever you want when you punt like that. Cloudy day here in Indy, and aerial coverage of today's game is provided by MetLife. These beautiful scenics of downtown Indianapolis, Indiana. We had the sun last week. McAfee.
He's great. He is a real weapon. I'm just telling you. And he dramatically changes field position. AFC Special Teams Player of the Month. He leads the league in net, averaging almost 50 yards a punt. And as a specialist, the kickoff specialist, he's got a league-high 24 touchbacks.
Taliaferro is in. Brown is in the slot, 1st and 10. And Walden jumped on the pile late. And a gain of about 3 up near the 7-yard line. That takes us to the end of the first quarter with a lot of moving parts. We'll return to Indy after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. We're going to start the second quarter. Gary Kubiak is the new play caller, taking the place of Jim Caldwell for Baltimore.
Well, Kevin, I think it was a great hire. He was brought in to turn around this offense. They were 29th last season, in the bottom 5 in just about every meaningful statistical category.
2nd and 7. And they've got Owen Daniels, who he brings with him from Houston up to the 20-yard line and brought down by DeQuell Jackson. He picks up 13 and a Raven first down.
Look at that script. You'll see Owen Daniels has great familiarity. A little option route. He's going to stop him and stutter him a little bit and then work back across the field. He comes over from Houston with Gary Kubiak. It helps that Justin Forsett and Owen Daniels.
Flacco with a 1st and 10 pass to Torrey Smith. He's up near the 40-yard line. He was brought down in the play by safety Mike Adams. He picks up 20. Another Baltimore first down.
Well, you see Torrey Smith. He scares you with the speed. So he's always going to get that cushion. Look at the cushion around him as he runs that little hook route. Mike Adams doesn't want him going by him in the second. Look at that script of Gary's. It's got about 80 different colors on there and a lot of volume in year 1.
Forsett on 1st and 10. Not much there. Brought down in the play by Francois. It is a gain of 1 to New York and James.
Carolina helping the Bears cause. And then Jay Cutler helping the Bears cause as well. Scrambles to his right. He's going to scramble for 10 yards, go in for the touchdown. Chicago takes a 7-point lead, 14-7 over the Panthers. The Carolina turnover helping the Bears. Back to Kevin and Rich.
Carolina with a very difficult schedule. They lost last week to the same Raven team.
Yeah, one of the things they can't do right now is stop the run.
Good catch by Smith. On that 2nd down and 9, he takes it for a first down to the Colt 42-yard line, a 16-yard pickup.
You know, for a guy that's 5'9", he can really jump. And you just see him extend and catch the ball away from his body. He's got that compact torso, but he's got those long arms and that great leaping ability.
How about Flacco? Marooned at his 4. He's at Daniels for 13, Torrey Smith for 20, and a 16-yard laser right there. And it's Taliaferro on 1st and 10. They're about the 37-yard line before he climbs over some bodies and hit on the play by Jarrell Freeman. Back today after a hamstring issue. It's a gain of 4 to the 38. 37-yard line.
We were just talking about Gary Kubiak a moment ago, Kevin. I think they hired an offensive coach who knows how to fix it and believes in running the football. It's not just talk, it's a real commitment. The last year they were 30th and last in yards per carry. They're going to get that turned around, and they've got 3 backs. They always have a fresh back on the field.
2nd down and 6. That's incomplete. They were looking for Marlon Brown, and with new language that the quarterback and the offense had to learn.
Yeah, and it was really starting over for Flacco, and he said that he looked at it as a challenge. It's always important when you have a veteran quarterback that buys in, that wants to learn and get better. And As Gary told us last night, he's the quietest guy that he's been around, but one of the things that he sees with Joe is that confidence that, you know, he has seen with all the great ones that Gary has worked about, whether it's Steve Young or John Elway. Flacco has a lot of confidence.
5 in the secondary. Forsett is in. 3rd and 6 for Flacco. Here they come! He gets it off Forsett. Brown with the block on Freeman. This is Forsett, who's brought down by Adams. A receiver, Brown with a block, a 26-yard catch and run by Forsett to the 12 of the Colts.
Well, he's right here. He comes off the edge, and it's almost as if once Jonathan Newsom gets his hands around Flacco, everybody stops. And this play's still alive. Flacco's so big and strong that you can't stop. Forsett catches the ball in the flat and makes a big play.
Terrific looking drive by the Super Bowl MVP from a couple years ago. 1st and 10. Werner, who has a sack, just deflects that pass. They're looking for Juszczyk. It's incomplete. It's 2nd down and 10.
One of the things that you're seeing the Ravens do more of this year is move the quarterback. They run that stretch play so well, and off of that come the boots and nakeds, and something that Flacco's very good at. Just in this case, Werner doesn't go for the fake.
Baltimore is 7th in points scored. The NFL coming into today. 2nd and 10. 10th play of the drive. Aiken in motion. Taliaferro. A block by Yonda. And he's down to the 3. Hit by Jackson among others. Also hit on the play by rookie free agent Zach Kerr. It's a gain of 9 for the rookie out of Coastal Carolina, Lorenzo Taliaferro.
Well, if you're the Colts defense, this is going to be an all-day sucker when it comes to stopping the run. I mean, you're going to be tested for 60 minutes. This is an offense, Kevin, we just talked about, that's committed to running the football.
Which they can still get a 1st down. Two tight ends. Timeout. Baltimore. 13-yard pass to Daniels, 20-yard pass to Torrey Smith, 16-yard pass to Steve Smith, and a 26-yard run by Justin Forsett, who played 3 games for the Colts back in 08. A reminder, Thursday, your Pro Football Week starts right here when these same Colts take on the Texans. They'll meet in Houston. Another big-time matchup in prime time, Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. It's 3rd and 1 as you take a look at the matchup coming up in a couple days.
Well, Kevin, with the way they're running the football, 3rd and 1, I think you got to hand it to one of those backs. Doing a good job with the point, coming off the ball, getting up on the 2nd level. This could even be 4-down territory. You know, if Harbaugh's already told Gary Kubiak that we come up a little bit short, we're going to take another shot on 4th down, that will certainly impact the call in this situation. I think that they're going to run it here.
Reed is coming as an extra offensive lineman. 2 tight ends, 3rd and 1. And Taliaferro brought down. Some big-time hits, including Ricky Jean-Francois. And now 4th down.
Well, there's a lot of, you see the guard Yonda, he's going to pull around, get a lead with the back, and pretty good play at the point there by Ricky Jean-Francois.
Say that one more time for me.
Ricky Jean-Francois. Parlez-vous français? Oui, oui.
Here we go. Reed, the extra lineman, remains. Now in motion. 4th and 1. Here comes Brown. Down goes Flacco. He's sacked for the 3rd time today. And it couldn't have come at a better time for Sergio Brown. So Harbaugh elects to go for it on 4th and 1 at the 3.
Well, Kevin, they had 3rd and less than a yard. They get stuffed on 2 downs. I mean, I like the call. Not going to be conservative. He's going to be aggressive and take some shots.
Watt taking a shot right here. T.Y. Hilton near the 25. Belted on the play by Asa Jackson. Picks up 11. It is a 1st down.
I think you send a message to your offensive line and to the entire group that, hey, we can make a half a yard on 2 downs. And if you can't do that, you're in the wrong business.
It's pretty important, isn't it, for offenses to have that?
They don't want to come off the field.
Right, yeah.
I mean, hey, I want to give me a chance. And I think that's got to be the mindset.
First down and 10.
Good 70. Easy, easy.
Easy, easy.
What's that mean?
So you're going to change the play. Everybody sit tight. I don't need anybody jump off sides. Easy, easy.
Richardson on first and 10.
That was anything but easy.
Yeah, they make it tough. They always seem to inside. Tyson makes the stop. It is a loss of 2. They're back down to the 23. Let's go back downstairs to Brad Johansson.
Guys, Terrell Freeman is on the sideline now stretching out his hamstring. As we told you, he was starting and back in the lineup after suffering a hamstring early in the season. He is now stretching out, talking, was on the ground stretching out that right. Looks like he's ready to go back up and ready, but he left on 3rd down. Kev?
Well, they said the communication is better with him on the field, Rich.
Absolutely, and just getting him back and healthy is huge. I mean, he's more experienced and has a speed and playmaking ability in the middle of that defense.
That's a 2nd and 12. It goes to Hilton. Doesn't produce much. He's out near the 28. A grab of 6 yards right there. They had Suggs along with Smith out there. It'll be 3rd down.
You know, one thing that's impressive, you watch the Ravens defensively, is when the ball comes out, everybody runs to the football. And I think this just goes back to when Ray Lewis and Ed Reed were there. That's the intensity. That's the energy that they play with on that side of the ball. They always talk about getting 11 hats to the football.
Into the nickel, 3rd and 6. Dumerville blocked by Shirless. Good looking catch by Wayne. He'll be close to a first down. Hit by Webb. He's got the first down. They mark him about the 36, although one official from the other side has him at the 35. And they'll put him at the 36. Another catch on 3rd down for a first for Reggie Wayne. 2nd time today for him.
Well, the protection's been good, and Andrew Luck has been buying himself some extra time, sliding and finding that lane.
And the challenge flag has been thrown. Top of your screen by Coach John Harbaugh. See, the official on his side had him no further than the 35. The official on this side of the field, the near side of the field, had him at the 36. So they split the difference. They put him right between.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field of a first down.
So you're saying it's not an exact science?
Well, it isn't. But John was watching the official on his side mark him at the 35, and that's what he's obviously going to throw out there.
But they're going to defer to the official on the near side of where the play was.
True. Ooh, good challenge.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. More live games than ever before with NFL Mobile. Macy's. And by Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down. Baltimore will be charged with their 2nd timeout.
Yeah, both head coaches have lost a challenge today, which signals our trip to New York and Mike Carey. Mike, what did you see?
Well, the key to this play is where does the control of the pass happen? The ball is controlled in the air at the 36-yard line, although it's the receiver's momentum it takes him back short of the 35. So this ball should be down by contact at the 35 because the defender did not knock him back. His own momentum knocked him back.
Great, Mike. Thank you. 1st and 10 handoff, and it goes to Trent Richardson, who is tackled by Darrell Smith. It is a gain of 3 to the 39. So they do get the first down, and that's a 3rd down reception today, as we mentioned before, by Reggie Wayne to capture a first down for the Colt offense.
Kevin, he is so good. He just has such a great feel for holes in coverage. He knows the importance of getting his depth, especially in those 3rd and long situations. You can tell the quarterback's got a great deal of confidence he's going to be in the right place at the right time.
It's a 2nd down and 7, and Richardson running a block, leaping through, tackle made by Upshaw. It is a gain of 5. He's up to the 44-yard line.
And I really like what we're seeing from Trent Richardson. He looks so much more comfortable. We saw him again last week, Kevin, in this offense. I think he's worked really hard this offseason to improve in the passing game. But again, you look at the numbers, he's averaging just 3.3 a rush. You compare that to Bradshaw, who's averaging almost 5.5 a rush. It's been the difference. He just hasn't been able to kick out of some of those tackles around the line of scrimmage. A lot of double cadence. So what Andrew Luck is doing, he's calling the cadence. He's trying to set the defense. Have the defense show their hand.
3rd and 2 into the nickel. Caught by Wayne. First down, 48-yard line. Webb was right there. It is a gain of 4. The reliable Reggie Wayne, who says he's watching more film now than he has in the past, with a lot of attention given to the routes he runs.
Well, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but you better cover 87 on 3rd down. I do know that.
You're pretty smart, though.
This is where the ball's going on 3rd down, right there. You're going to throw it to 87. Find him. Cover him.
And if you're on the other side, you go to 89 of 1st and 10. Luck. And that's into Baltimore territory. They have Hakeem Nicks, who's brought down by Smith. He's at the 49, and he picks up 4 on the play. Coming up on the Verizon halftime report, JB, Tony, Bart, Boomer, and Coach Cowers. Scores, news, highlights of this Week 5, and a preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's coming up on the Verizon halftime report from our CBS studios in New York. If you look at our chart that maps out every series so far, it's crazy. It's not what these two teams have been doing.
Well, you make mistakes against good teams and you pay.
2nd down and 6 for Luck. It's Dwayne Allen, the tight end, brought down by Dumerville to the 38-yard line of Baltimore. It is a catch of 10, his first reception today, and a first down.
Well, we talk about matchups. You're going to see the tight end release, and Dumerville is going to wind up covering him in the flat. And that's a mistake.
Luck's hit 6 in a row. In the 1st and 10, Richardson. Thornton trying to get a block, and he does. The elusive Richardson. Down to the 33, hit by a host of guys across the way, including Matt Elam, and it's a gain of 5. He's down to about the 33-yard line.
Well, we see a guy that runs with great power and determination, and he doesn't go down easy.
Plus the language, right? You join a new team middle of the season as he did last year. You got to pick up on all the verbiage, and he's just reacting, it seems, more this year.
Yeah, he was swimming a little bit last year, and it took him a while. And again, you know, they didn't want to put him out there in positions where he wasn't going to be successful. So most of the time when he was in the game, they ran the football.
Little 2nd and 5 here for Luck. And looking for Hilton through his hands. The coverage by Webb. Hilton says he was pushed while in mid-flight. 3rd and 5 for the Colts.
Well, they're being careful how they use Webb, but it's a nice job here right at the end, just making a play on Hilton. And as Hilton goes up for it, he gets hit by Ladarius Webb.
Webb had the bad lower back. Wayne's had a couple of 3rd down receptions on this drive that started back at the 15. 12th play coming up, 3rd and 5 for Luck.
I'm just going to circle him, Kevin. Why not? There's a good chance that's where the ball's going to go, 87.
Here they come again. Shirless holds off Dumerville. This time they go to Hilton. He's got the ball. He's a Jackson defending. At the 23-yard line, a flag is resting at the 30. A 10-yard gain as it stands right now.
Well, Jimmy Smith held Reggie Wayne. That's why they went up throwing the ball outside to Hilton.
I'd hold him too. I mean, my goodness. You look at the landscape of these receivers here. You got 2 35-year-old guys today who have put their imprint on this game.
Holding, number 22, defense. A penalty is declined. The result of the play is completed pass, first down.
That's the number 1 pick out of Colorado 4 years ago.
A little concentration by T.Y. Hilton on the boundary. Right as he goes to catch it, he just takes a peek to see where he was on the field. Oh, he has really played well here the first month of the season.
And they practice stuff like that all the time, don't they?
Absolutely. In fact, you see it out of practice on Friday. The receivers have a special period where they're toe tapping on the boundary.
Bradshaw, he'll be toe tapping right here with a 1st and 10. Mosley was off balance, and while backpedaling slows him down just enough. that D'Angelo Tyson can bring him down after a gain of 5, and they'll put him about the 18. Mosley did a nice job that time.
I've been really impressed with C.J. Mosley. I said before, I thought he was the best linebacker in the draft, the first-team All-American, a Buckus Award winner. He's got that combination of toughness and elite instincts and athleticism. Been a great fit. Leads the team with 33 tackles coming into today's game. It's a very good job diagnosing the play.
It's a 2nd down and 5. Luck stands on the block. That was batted down. I think Nada may have gotten in the way in that flight pattern. 3rd down and 5 coming up. He's already got a interception today.
Well, Andrew Luck may have been fortunate here that this ball gets batted because he's trying to fit it into his linebacker Fleener, and C.J. Mosley was right there. Good effort here by Haloti Ngata. He is still a monster inside. He can be so disruptive. He's got that strength, but he's got that lateral quickness. He can still run sideline to sidelines. It's unusual for a big man.
3rd and 5, and Luck has been terrific on 3rd down today, but this time he's going to eat it. It's McPhee who plays all over that defense, and Doomerville that combine on the sack of Luck. It's a loss of 7. It's back to the 25, and the Colts again will have to settle for 3. Baltimore's defense is held all first half long. Vinatieri is going to line up for a 43-yard field goal, but the story probably has been as much the defense as anything for Baltimore, with 3 trips deep by the Indy offense into Baltimore territory. Nada and McPhee and Mosley and Smith, they have held him to just now a 2nd field goal try.
Bend but don't break. There's a reason why there's a #1 red zone defense. Very stingy in this part of the field.
They have played very well against the #1 offense in pro football. This is Vinatieri, and he gets it in, sneaks it in from 43. The lead is 6-0. Flag was thrown on the play. Again, against the #1 quarterback, #1 offense, the defense of Baltimore is held. Flacco's been sacked 3 times. Some of the storylines early in this game. This is going to be against Baltimore. If it's a hold, it would be an automatic first.
We can put the offense back on the field. Absolutely.
You take the points off the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Wow, that's huge.
Oh my gosh. McPhee, who just played so well a second ago with the sack.
You say, why do you get a hold in this situation? Typically, you're grabbing so that you can free up another rusher to get a clean shot at the kick.
That's the first penalty on Baltimore. They're the 2nd least penalized team in pro football. They just had 16 through 4 games. That's their first today. Boy, it couldn't have come at a worse time.
Well, it's a killer. Now you put the Colts back on the field. Take a couple more shots at it.
8-minute drive, 16th play of the drive coming up, 1st and 10.
Let it roll. Quick single, 5-7. Quick 70.
With 2 tight ends, Richardson. A block by Doyle. Oh, and he corkscrews to the 5. What a play. Tackle was made by Matt Elam. A burst of 14 and a 1st and goal to go.
Well, you mentioned the block by Doyle. They put him in the backfield, and he's going to get squared up on Smith. Just enough to free up Trent Richardson on the 2nd level.
1st and goal, Luck. Touchdown. T.Y. Hilton. How about the holding penalty now against the Ravens? My goodness. Flag is down. This is looking to be perhaps against the Colts.
Number 87, offense. 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's on Reggie Wayne.
So we're going to call legal contact. You see Reggie Wayne. He's going to come over here, and they're running a crossing route. And what they do, they probably get him for a pick. I don't know about all that.
Well, it's going to negate T.Y. Hilton's touchdown reception, which had it stood Would have been his first since November of last year.
He's got a right to run the route. And Kevin, he's looking back in, and of course he's got to try and get across the formation. That had nothing to do with the play.
Now Rich, first and goal at the 16. Into the nickel. Luck. Richardson. Nice open field stop right there by Asa Jackson, and finished off by Williams and by Upshaw. There's no gain on the play. It'll be second down and goal at the 16.
Well, let's go back and look at Reggie Wayne. He's running the crossing route. And of course, they're going to try and, well, he does. He actually looks like he looks him up. That's a better look at it right there. Good picture from the trucks. He changed. If he would have stayed on his course, actually came back underneath and got a piece of the defender.
Second goal at the 16, into the nickel. Looking for Wayne. Jousting with Jackson. There is no yellow on the field. It'll be third and goal. And again, the Baltimore defense, a big story here in the first half.
Kevin, they really have played well. They did a nice job getting around Andrew Luck, forcing him off the spot. And they've done a nice job on the back end covering.
And as you told us earlier, #1 red zone defense and against the #1 red zone offense. Who will give? 19th play of the drive. It began back at the 15 of the Colts.
Well, this Ravens defense has been on the field way too long here in the first half.
Watch Bradshaw, 44. He's in third and goal at the 16. They'll release. Luck over the head of Akeem Nicks. They hold again. The Baltimore D holds again. Jimmy Smith was defending. They'll try for 3.
Well, we've seen a couple of these red zone shots. This is a double post. Both receivers going to the post, and seen a couple throws now by Andrew Luck where he's just missed a little bit high.
How about the Colts headed first and goal, and they have to settle for 6.
Makes you sick to your stomach.
At the 6, excuse me, and they have to settle for 3, or a 3-point try by Vinatieri, a 34-yard try. Which makes it 6-0. Vinatieri, a perfect 10 of 10 in the season, 2 of 2 today. The Colt defense comes up next. Verizon halftime report in New York coming up next. Scores, highlights, news of this week 5. Preview of Thursday Night Football on CBS and NFL Network. That's coming up in the Verizon halftime report. So Luck had a 20-play drive, held it for almost 10 minutes. In fact, they got the benefit of the penalty on McPhee on a field goal try, which gave them new life. But the defense of Baltimore holds once again against this explosive Colt offense. Out of the backfield. Remember now, the Colts have had 2 straight games of 40 points or more. But the Baltimore D has held it to 6 with a lot of chances to score by Indy. Timeout. Rain is coming in. They're going to close the roof at halftime. Boy, it hardly even seems like we've seen anything of the Flacco-led Baltimore offense.
Well, Kevin, they've only had 20 snaps. They've only had a little time of possession at 9 minutes and 26 seconds. I think on the flip side of it, you look at from John Harbaugh's perspective, your defense has been on the field for 20 minutes, have only given up 6 points. I think you throw a screen in this situation or draw.
It's Forsett on first and 10. I like that recovery right there. Look at his room to roam. Vontae Davis knocks him away. You can do that, right? It's
screen or draw. Start a 2-minute drive.
It's the one and the same. A 29-yard run by Forsett. 1 timeout left for Baltimore. They're up near 50-yard line. 49, actually.
Forsett's been a nice little addition this year. He's bounced around, 4th different team in as many years. Smaller back it's kind of a one-cut runner.
As you wonder about things like this, Tucker, the kicker for Baltimore, his long is 61 yards, but he's not had very many long. In fact, he's missed 2 50-plus yard field goals this year. First and 10, Flacco high and uncatchable for Brown with the coverage on the near side by Josh Gordy. It's second down and 10.
That's a good decision by Joe Flacco. If it's not there, you don't want to take a sack, throw it away.
Here's Tucker. He's missed from 55 and 57. Longest he's made this year is from 38. Colts lining up with 5 in their secondary. Second down and 10. Owen Daniels. Brought down by Colt Anderson. It's a 16-yard pickup. He gets to the 35. 16 seconds to go. Final timeout used by Baltimore in Indy. Kubiak has his offense from their 20 down to the 35 of Indy.
Well, the draw got it going with Justin Forsett, and of course a big completion there to Owen Daniels.
It's 1st and 10. No timeouts. Forsett. Good play by Verner. He was the #1 pick. He comes out of Florida State last year. It is a gain of 2. Here they quickly, they're going to have to spike it now because they have no timeouts, which they do on that 2nd down and 8. They get it in time. It's 3rd down, 3 seconds, and here comes Justin Tucker.
Well, they rolled the dice. They tried to run it there. I don't have a problem with the play call. They do a nice job understanding the situation. The offensive line got together quickly. They got the ball to the center, and they got the ball clocked.
A Pro Bowler a season ago, Justin Tucker with a 52-yard drive. He's got the distance and the accuracy. And Baltimore, shockingly, with hardly any time of possession, is to within 3 points at halftime, helped by some terrific Baltimore defense. This good, Tucker from 52.
This is really going to help them. It carries some momentum now into the locker room. They did not play well offensively, but yet they're only down 6-3.
Ravens come in having won 3 consecutive games. Colts 2 straight. Let's go down to Brad Johansson.
Coach, you dominated first half. You won the turnover battle. You had the ball for 20 minutes, and yet you're only up by 3. Disappointed in the scoreboard?
Well, you know what? Ton of missed opportunities. We had the ball, in the red area 4 or 5 times, and had the 1 touchdown called back on the pick play. Proud of the defense. I mean, they've done a great job. We did get the turnovers. We did eliminate the big plays. Just got to keep it going. We got 30 minutes of ball left.
Appreciate your time, Coach. Thanks. Kev, back to you.
Flacco's been brought down 3 times, a sack, 6-3 at halftime. The Colts and the Ravens. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Here comes Brown. Down goes Flacco. The Colts offensive possessions, 4 have come in Raven territory, only 2 field goals. Ravens had 1 red zone possession. They lost it on downs. And the defense of Baltimore has been terrific. I mean, it's been a very interesting first half. A lot of moving parts, as we said.
Kevin, Baltimore's got to feel pretty good about how they played defensively. Remember now, the Colts had the #1 offense in football. They scored 85 points the last 2 weeks, and of course they held them to 2 field goals. One of them, of course, coming on a short field. So they're playing really well defensively. On the flip side of it, they carried some momentum into the locker room at halftime. They only had the ball for 10 minutes, only had 25 plays in the first half, and yet they were able to come away with a field goal, 52-yard field goal by Tucker before the half. But the time of possession, we're talking about an Indianapolis offense that's #1 right now in ball control in the league. They're averaging just under 36 minutes of possession each week. The Ravens are going to have to get some possessions here offensively and put some drives together. That defense could wear down late in this one.
All right, Jacoby Jones going to watch this sail over his head. Another touchback by McAfee. Well, let's look at the first half resume.
That's pretty ugly there for a while. And even they go for it, and they're not able to convert down in the red zone. But look at that, Kevin. They still come away with the field goal, the 6-play, 47-yard drive right before the half, set up by a big run by Justin Forsett on the first play of the drive, and of course a nice catch by Owen Daniels for 16 yards.
Flacco leads the #6 offense in football. 1st and 10. Blocked by Hurst. They dump it to Forsett, and he's being chased down, slowed up at least, on the line by Josh Chapman. It's a loss of 2, and they're going to push him back to the 18.
Well, we visited with the Colts on Friday, and defensive coordinator Greg Minuski said that they've got to be able to eliminate the yards after contact. They have to tackle well this week as a group, and they've done that. Well, a good job getting angles and not allowing a back like Forsett to kick out of tackles.
Second down, 12. Here comes Walden with the rush, which screws up the pass to Juszczyk. It's now 3rd and 12. Brad, what do you have?
Kevin John Harbaugh told his players, relax. As many things as went wrong in the first half, we get the ball back, we're down 3. Just play Ravens football. Kev?
Yeah, that's really the message. I mean, as bad as they've played offensively, I mean, it just takes one big play. Somebody's got to step up and make a play. Steve Smith, Kevin's been very quiet in the first half.
5 in the secondary. They need the 30. 3rd and 12. Flacco looking for Smith, who got tangled up across the way with Toller from Hyattsville, Maryland, and a late flag has been thrown at the 47 on 3rd and 12.
You know, the Ravens are a big double move team.
Pass interference, number 28, defense. First down.
It's on Toller.
When you watch Steve Smith, he's going to double move him. He starts him inside, and then Toller's actually in really good position. He turns right back around. I don't see it.
I don't either.
I wonder what more Toller can do in that situation. You see Chuck Pagano. He's seen the replay. He's livid.
Chuck was at the Baltimore organization for 4 years, assistant coach, 1-year defensive coordinator, and he is upset.
I mean, you teach technique, you teach fundamentals. They run a double move on you. Toller takes a good angle and puts himself in a position to make a play.
That's a 28-yard penalty.
That's a big one.
Breathing space at the 46, force set, wrapped up and brought down. Montori Hughes. And a loss of a yard back to the 45. Montori has not missed many meals. And that's what they need. They got to have a big body in there.
You know what? They got pushed around inside last year. And there was talking to Ryan Grigson, their general manager, there was an emphasis on getting bigger, stronger, more powerful in their defensive front.
4 in the secondary, second down, 11. Flacco and looking for Daniels. And the coverage on the play by Jarrell Freeman. It's 3rd and 11.
Well, the Colts are getting home and they're doing it with 5-man pressures. And you're just going to see it. It comes a little bit late. But to Quell Jackson, and when you're Joe Flacco, you're not anticipating a free rusher up inside.
6 in the secondary for the Colts.
Kevin, they've had a difficult time getting home with 4. And that's why you've seen a lot of 5-man pressures today from this Colts defense.
Taliaferro is in. Flacco 3rd and 11. Blocked by Wagner. Intercepted. It's picked off by Vontae Davis. And there he bounces up and breaks the Daniels tackle, and he's got an entourage before he is brought down by Marlon Brown. He's down to the Baltimore 34. 3rd Raven turnover today.
Well, you get fooled right here. You're going to see, here's the coverage. He's just going to go up and run an in route, but he's going to get help over the top from the safety. And knowing that he's got help over the top from the safety, he's able to roll back underneath it. And that's what Joe Flacco doesn't see. Initially, Joe Flacco sees 3 coverage with the safety in the middle. But in this situation, Vontae Davis knows that he has help over the top from the safety, and Flacco never sees it.
We have an injured player down. And on the field and getting up is Assembly. You take a timeout. Kelechi Assembly walking off under his own power. That was good. Vontae Davis just picked off his 2nd. He's playing as well as any cornerback in pro football now. It's the 3rd start in Baltimore territory today for the Colts, who have it 1st and 10. Richardson, Thornton trying to get a block and could not. Brought down by Mosley at the 29. Catch and run of 4. This is the resume in the first half for Indy.
Really amazing. 41 plays, 20 minutes of possession, and as you point out, Kevin, just the 2 field goals to show for it. They've not done well down in this part of the field inside the red zone. Got to learn to finish drives down there, and they have been so effective coming into today's game. In fact, the best red zone offense in football.
2nd down, 6. That's caught by Hilton in front of Asa Jackson. T.Y. Hilton makes the grab. He's at the 19-yard line. A gain of 11 on 2nd down and 6 and a Colt first down.
I think Andrew Luck may be the best quarterback in football in terms of throwing with bodies around him. You know, people pushing up inside, hands going up, people hanging on the back of him. He's so strong, and he does such a great job keeping his eyes downfield and not peeking to see the rush.
5-1. Hey, I got 1. Hey, 370.
2 tight ends, one of which Doyle will give a block for Richardson. A little pile drive his way near the 15. He picks up 3 on the play. That's what they say about Luck. He's got a little bit of Roethlisberger in him. He's got a little bit of Manning in him. And he's got a lot of luck surrounding both.
Well, he does have a lot of luck right now. And I think part of it, Kevin, as you said, he's a little bit like Ben Roethlisberger. Just talking to Dean Pease, the Ravens defensive coordinator, we mentioned this last week as well. Everybody sees him the same way. I think he's so big, he's so strong, he's hard to sack, and yet he's got some of that Peyton Manning in him in terms of the way he controls things, the line of scrimmage, the way he is able to change plays and protections. Very seamless with Luck under center.
2nd down, 7. Luck, here he goes on the move, weaving his way to the 6. Brought down by McPhee, who sacked Luck earlier, and Luck a little bit shaken, as you can see on the play, with the run of 9, a swerving run of 9, and a first down.
Well, he's very good at this as well. He's going to go through all his progressions. You can see him movement, and now we know that he can run. This is scary here at the end. He gets hit.
It's 1st and goal at the 6. This is where Baltimore has been tough today. Can they continue what they did defensively? Luck. He throws it away. 2nd and goal. Brad, what do you have?
Kalichi Asemele is diagnosed with a right knee sprain, questionable to return, but he was going up and working against Gino Gradkowski. He shook his head, yes, I'm good, but he is questionable, guys.
Asemele missed 9 games a season ago with back surgery.
And they really struggled with not having him in there. They had Gradkowski in there, smaller center. They got pushed around a little bit last year. It was one of the problems that Flacco had. Talked about being stronger inside. They feel a lot better with Zuta in there and a healthy KO.
Into the nickel. 2nd and goal. Luck. Complete. A coverage by Mosley from Alabama, covering another Crimson Tide player in Trent Richardson. It's 3rd and goal for the Colts. And again, Baltimore's defense holding firm.
Well, they really make you work for it down here, don't they? I mean, you got to be perfect. I mean, you just watched. It wasn't a bad route by Trent Richardson, but Mosley was right there. Do a very good job passing off their assignments, and the communication down in this part of the field has been outstanding today for the Ravens.
Keep an eye on 44, Rich in the backfield. Bradshaw, he's been tough on 3rd downs in a red zone receiver. This time Bradshaw blocks, and they've got Allen for the touchdown. Dwayne Allen with his 4th touchdown reception this year. One of those great tight ends for Indy. They were working on the rookie Mosley.
Well, they're going to run the ball to the flat, and then Allen's going to sneak all the way back across the formation, and he gets lost in traffic. Mosley has his eyes on the backfield. He sees action away. He's late to get to Allen, working back across the field.
Luck with the toss, and Allen, who won the John Mackey Award for the best tight end in college football at Clemson, capping a 7-play, 33-yard drive, and it was set up on the Vontae Davis interception and 28-yard return. So they cash in. Now Vinatieri will try to tack on one more with 10:33 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Luck throws his league-leading 14th touchdown pass. Allen pulls it in. Working on a rookie linebacker, dragging across the middle. Allen for 6, and the Colts on top by 10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Without a heart, it's just a machine. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by the all-new 2015 Honda Fit. The new Fit is a great fit for you.
Back in Indy, TV's #1 comedy is Genius. Join Emmy winner Jim Parsons and the rest of the gang on a new Big Bang Theory. New night tomorrow, 8, 7 Central. Only on CBS. Kevin Harlan, Rich Gannon, and the Indy Speedway with the golf course in the middle of it. How about that? A lot of history there. Kobe Jones will bring it out about 9.5 yards deep. And then he's whacked as he tried to find room with Dewey McDonald. Getting it and bringing him down. McDonald called up this week, 23-yard return. The turnover story for Baltimore.
It's been a big story, Kevin. First offensive play for the Ravens. Steve Smith puts it on the ground. Jacoby Jones muffs a punt. That leads to another turnover. Then Flacco gets fooled. The Colts roll to a 2 deep coverage late. Vontae Davis crawls right back underneath the receiver, and Flacco never sees him.
Pierce in the backfield for the first time. Bernard Pierce makes a miss. McNary brings him down with a nice burst. He's up to the 27-yard line, weaving his way for 13 yards and a Raven first down.
Well, this is what they need. Bernard Pierce is a really talented player. You know, he's been banged up. He's been nursing some injuries. He needs to play well, and I think he needs to get some touches here in the second half.
Assembly is back in the game, which is good news for Raven fans. Offers a block, another handoff, and Pierce again chugging his way for another first down. He's up with a gain of 12. They'll spot him at the 39.
Well, with the emphasis switching over to Justin Forsett and Lorenzo Talaferio the last couple weeks, Gary Kubiak told us last night he's very interested to see how Bernard Pierce responds to the competition.
Pierce didn't play against Carolina last week. Inactive the week before with a quadriceps issue. Third consecutive carry on 1st and 10. Davis brings him down. Gain of 2 to the 41.
You know, it's amazing what happens is when you're used to getting your touches and all of a sudden somebody else is getting the work and you're sitting there watching, all of a sudden you want to be back out there.
And why do they always say rhythm is such a big deal for running backs?
Well, it is. It's important. It's hard to get into the flow of the game and get a feel for how the offensive line's, you know, moving at the point of attack when you're only touching it once or twice and then you're having to come on and off the field.
2nd down and 8, and they go outside with Walden making the stop on Steve Smith, who picks up 4 to the 45.
See Steve Smith just run the little hitch route up top. And you see Eric Walden. He comes right in there and catches him right around the neck.
That's a linebacker out there in space trying to get a shifty receiver.
Right across the face mask.
Yeah. Forsett will be a receiver on a 3. Bottom of his screen, 3rd and 4. 5 defensive backs. He's got Forsett, who's hit by Brown, shy of the first down. Big hit by Sergio Brown, replacing the suspended LaRon Landry. 4th career start today. Comes up with a big play, allows a gain of a yard, and Baltimore's got a punt.
Well, they're bringing pressure, and then they're just rallying to make the stop. Forsett just run a little shoot route. Really good instinctive play there by Sergio Brown.
Is that like, oh shoot, I'm going to get tackled? Or what do you mean?
Better get your head around.
Here's the punt by Cook. Waving his arm. Fair caught, 20-yard line. One time of 4-4, 34-yard punt. Here comes Luck, 7:42 to go. Sergio Brown with a rare start and playing well. On the foreground there, you see the field house and football stadium in the background. Aerial coverage today provided by MetLife. Life is not what Baltimore's offense has shown today, and they came in as a pretty highly ranked offense with that guy right there.
Well, they're struggling on 3rd down. That's been a big problem. Just 1 of 6 on 3rd down. They failed on 2 3rd and 1s and a 3rd and 4. Manageable situations, Kevin. They still can't get it done.
Whoops. Suggs jumping. Is that all inflection on the quarterback?
No, I mean, they've run it a couple times and, you know, just protection has not been good enough today for Flacco.
Neutral zone infraction number 55.
What about the inflection right there and the cadence by Luck?
And we talked about that, how important that was going to be. You want to take the edge off the rush a little bit, mix in some hard count. See Terrell Suggs jawing a little bit with Andrew Luck.
You guys used to practice that, huh, all the time?
We did a lot just to make sure. And you know, you want to mix it up. You want this offensive line to get comfortable with your cadence. It could be a real weapon if you use it right.
Luck with 1st and 5. Bradshaw. Then he was devoured by Lawrence Guy, a former Colt. No gain on the play. And one of the big matchups we're talking, edge blocking against those edge rushers.
Well, they've done a pretty nice job. You're going to see Costanzo working against Terrell Suggs. Pretty good there, runs him around the pile. And even the tight end, Kobe Fleener, working on Elvis Dumerville. They've been very protection conscious in the first half, making sure that they're taking care of the edges.
Baltimore in their base, 2nd and 5. T.Y. Hilton slashing his way to the 44. Brought down by Jackson, runs for 18, moves the chains. 1st down Colts.
My goodness, T.Y. Hilton is so quick after the catch. I mean, you think you're in position. You see Jackson now. He's doing everything he possibly can to get a piece of him.
Red 70! What's that?
1st and 10. Blocked by Costanzo. Going deep and broken up. Couple guys in the secondary, and the subsequent collision with Stewart at about the 23. And was that, I can only see a 1.
Well, you're going to
Brooks. It's Brooks.
Yep, they're going to run a little double move here, and they're trying to go after the safety, but they don't feel the backside safety. That's the problem.
That's Terrence Brooks, 31, their rookie, who they like out of Florida State in the 3rd-round pick, and they were going after Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah, that could have been an easy interception. They just run into each other there, and man, that's how people get hurt.
And then the head bounces off the turf. All right, there's an injury timeout. 3rd quarter clock at 6:38 on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by all the Old Spice products, which you should use all over your body. And by Universal Pictures' Dracula Untold, in theaters and IMAX Friday.
Yeah, they closed the roof at halftime, and they've closed this particular series on Terrence Brooks, who ran off under his own power. Jeremy Miles, a veteran, formerly of the Bengals, has taken his place.
This is how players get hurt. Quarterbacks throwing the ball late down the middle, not seeing out in front of throws, not feeling that backside safety.
They say just the wind knocked out of him. So we'll come back in. There's Miles, one of 5 defensive backs in there right now for Baltimore.
Talked about how important protection was going to be today for Andrew Luck. 33 pass attempts. He's been sacked just once. He's actually been sacked just once in his last 100 attempts. He's done a good job up front, keeping him clean.
It's a 2nd down and 10. Bradshaw, Costanzo a block. The boy coming through and stopping that play. McPhee, he is making an impact. The loss of a yard on the play. They go back to the 41, playing all over the defense. Richie plays outside linebacker, defensive end, nose tackle. The ubiquitous McPhee.
He does a lot of things well, Kevin. He's having a terrific game. He's done a good job pressuring the passer. He's made some big plays in the run defense. And he benefits from the fact that they have some good edge players in Suggs and Dumerville that allow him to free up inside and rush the passer from that 3 and 5 technique.
Still the nickel. Brooks, as you saw, back in. 3rd and 11. Luck. And almost picked off by Ladarius Webb. He had it. It was right there. And a flag has been thrown back at the 32.
Holding number 69. Offense. Penalty is declined. It's 4th down.
He came back after not playing last week from an ankle injury, returning today, and Luck will trudge off. We'll have to punt.
You see Reggie Wayne here, a little bit of miscommunication. He's going to stop, put his foot in the ground, and come right back to the quarterback, and Andrew Luck's anticipating him slide a little bit to his right. Not on the same page.
McAfee will punt to Webb. And as we mentioned back in the first half, the AFC Special Teams Player of the Month. What hangs on? Webb at the 15. In time of over 5. 42-yard punt. Here comes Flacco. His team down by 10. 5:45 in the third on CBS. Robert Mathis is out. He was suspended for the first 4 games, then he blew his Achilles, and so he is out. Verner taking his place this season, and he's got a sack already today. After the punt, 1st and 10. Underneath, Smith with the dance, and McNary will get him. He was starting for the injured Freeman. And it's a gain of 7, and he's up to the 23. Today with NFL Now. Watch a free preview of the unlimited video highlights experience on your phone, tablet, and desktop. Don't miss a big play from your fantasy team or favorite plays. Start watching free today, NFL.com/now. On 2nd and 3, it's incomplete. Toller and Smith with Jackson over there. And a flag back at the 17.
Illegal hands to the face, number 72. Offense. 10-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Oh, Simile. You know, we just saw the time of possession, Rich, and it's a 10-minute difference. The Baltimore Ravens have the most long drives coming into this game than any other offense, as you see the hold.
Yeah, they have 12 10-play drives, and they could use one right now, Kevin. I mean, just, you know, they've got to be antsy in that huddle. They've not been able to get anything really going here. You just get the sense they're starting to run out of time. There's got to be a sense of urgency. Somebody has to step up and make a play.
Hands to the face was the call. 2nd and 13. Flacco into the nickel. Caught by Smith. He was doused quickly by Butler. Hits him down at the 17-yard line, and he picks up about 4 on the play. Smith has been quiet.
Well, they talked on Friday, the Colts defensive coordinator Greg Minuski, about crowding Smith the line of scrimmage. They said if you give him too much space, he can really hurt you. So they're talking about just jamming these receivers. And Steve Smith's so good after the catch. He does a good job juking and making the first tackler miss.
Baltimore 1 of 6 on 3rd down. Last week 10 of 13 against Carolina, 3rd and 9. They dump it off on the side. Forsett losing his momentum. Butler brings him down. Loss of a couple. They're back to the 16 on the play, and a flag.
Holding number 73, offense. The penalty is declined, 4th down.
Marshall Yonda. They got a punt again. 3 and out for Baltimore, so their second half resume: interception, punt, and punt.
Keep an eye on Yonda. He's actually going to work a double team. Then he comes off late for Jarrell Freeman, and he just tackles him. And there's really no need for that. The ball's coming out quick. Have to understand the situation in the game.
There's a former walk-on at Stanford with Whalen. Played a bit there with quarterback named Andrew Luck. Palo Alto. Punt by Cook. Second consecutive. By Baltimore from the 25. Hang time of 4-5. Whalen. Down to his own guy, and down he goes. After he was banged into by his blocker, Andrew Jackson. 10-yard return. 59-yard punt. And another flag back at the 23.
This is getting sloppy.
That is.
You said earlier, Kevin, just 16 penalties, the second fewest by the Ravens coming into today's game.
Illegal hands to the face, number 54 of the kicking team. That 10-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run, 1st down.
That's on rookie free agent Zachary Orr. Zach Orr picks it up. Well, tomorrow on NCIS Los Angeles, LL Cool J and Chris O'Donnell star in a new episode you won't want to miss. NCIS Los Angeles. It's on a new night and time tomorrow at 10, 9 Central. Only CBS. Colts come in 2-2. Ravens have won 3 consecutive games. They're 3-1 coming in. Looking for back-to-back road wins for the first time since 2012. It's been a while.
Well, you just see the concern there on John Harbaugh's face a moment ago, Kevin. I mean, they're not playing well offensively. The defense is keeping them in this game. And now they're getting some breakdowns on special teams. I mean, we saw the muff punt by Jacoby Jones earlier. We've had a couple penalties on special teams. It's not been a clean performance.
Couple tight ends, Bradshaw in the backfield. Ace D for the Baltimore Ravens. As much as they can have a base. 1st and 10. Luck, screenplay, Bradshaw looking for a block. Nice pursuit there by C.J. Mosley, but not after Bradshaw with the catch and run of 11. It's a first down to the Raven 44.
Well, let's talk about being a good get and roll. Just watch Luck right here. He's going to stare the screen to his left, and then he comes back and dumps it to the back. But again, drawing the rush, doing a good job with your eyes. They're a very good screen team, and big reason why is the patience of Ahmad Bradshaw.
They go to the nickel, 1st and 10. Pitch out, Bradshaw pulling Sherrillis and Harrison. And the run with the Brandon Williams tackle off that line to about the 36, and he picks up 8 on the play. One thing is, I just said base defense for Baltimore, as much as they can be in a base, they disguise things so well. And we've talked about a little bit today how they're all over the place, moving parts.
Yeah, they do a good job of that, Kevin, and they use a lot of different players in different roles, and they're interchangeable. You know, players can play outside, they can play inside. You might see a rusher start on the left, he comes back to the right. You may see Dumerville and Suggs switch at the last minute. You have to be able to communicate, and so far the Colts have done a pretty good job with their recognition.
Luck on 2nd and 2. Bradshaw with the block. Flag thrown. Allen from the 25. Mosley will chase him down and bring him down after a 15-yard pickup to the 21-yard line, pending the call with Walt Anderson, who officiated Super Bowl 45. That was Pittsburgh and Green Bay and Dallas. Green Bay won.
Holding, number 26, defense. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is completed pass, 1st down.
Nice play, Allen.
Yep.
Allen has a touchdown reception today from Luck. Reggie Wayne's been quiet in this half, Rich, for Indy.
Well, really, both defenses have done a good job taking care of their top 2 receivers, Reggie Wayne, and of course Steve Smith's been quiet as well, Kevin.
Richardson in. Quick slant. Hilton to the 10. And he coughed it up. Hilton got to the 10, then it was retrieved on the play by a fellow Colt and gotten by Richardson, who vacuums it in on a pickup of 11.
Well, he gets knocked out right there at the end. Safety comes in. Stewart punches it away.
That's a drop by Wayne. Coverage by Smith. It was 1st and goal at the 10. Good defense by Jimmy Smith.
Well, Jimmy Smith has played well. He's got those long arms. He just catches a piece of the ball and does enough to be able to rip it away from Reggie Wayne.
Lost his hat in the process. In fact, I don't know if that was more knockaway or was that more of a drop by Wayne.
I think the momentum of him swinging him back around made it difficult for Reggie Wayne to hold on to the football.
2nd goal at the 10.
Again, here's where the Colts have had their problems down in this part of the field
today, but they come in as the number 1 red zone team. Luck, Bradshaw, Mosley. It's out there on the wing. No gain on the play. They stay at the 10. I like this. You said you liked him before. I like Mosley.
He's done a nice job, and again, they're making him work a little bit in space. We saw Dwayne Allen matched up on him, and of course Bradshaw's been terrific. Comes into the game, I think, tied with the league lead 7 red zone receptions. He's so dangerous out of the backfield.
3rd and goal at the 10. Wayne, who is at the bottom of your screen, has 4 third down receptions today. And the Baltimore defense hold here as they've done most of the day. Luck looked for Wayne. Now Luck looking for Bradshaw, deflected and picked off on the play, and it's Mosley. He's got his first career pick on the deflected ball, and the defense of Baltimore comes back once again, picking off Luck. and stopping a goal-to-go situation.
Well, just great effort by the Ravens. They refuse to give up on the play. And Andrew Luck's going to move around and go ahead and run it. He's going to move around and keep this play alive. And then right as he starts scrambling to his left, he's going to get sandwiched between two defenders. The ball bounces up and it falls right into the lap of C.J. Mosley. A huge turnover in the red zone.
It's the second today. One by Nana and one by Mosley. Flacco, 1st and 10. Underneath, Owen Daniels, the two-time Pro Bowler, works his way to the 35 and brought down by DeQuell Jackson. 17-yard catch and run and a first down. Spot him at the 35.
Well, if the Ravens win this football game, Kevin, everyone in that defensive meeting room deserves a game ball. I mean, they've been outstanding. They've been put into some tight spots, some short fields, and they've come up huge.
Their defensive coordinator's Dean Pease, 3rd year in that role. New England prior to that. They've done a job. 1st and 10. And they were looking for Torrey Smith. The coverage on the play by Toller, and it's incomplete, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Well, it just seems like Torrey Smith and Joe Flacco can't get on the same page. When you throw that comeback and the receiver's still running upfield, either the receiver's running too deep or the quarterback's not taking enough, not getting deep enough in his drop.
And they rely on him so much. As a quarterback sometimes, then, Rich, would you try to just manufacture something to kind of get
You got to be careful. You got to be careful forcing it to a receiver like that. The guy that's been Joe's go-to guy has been Steve Smith.
2nd and 10. Verner will pressure. Forsett will get the ball. And
doesn't want to go down.
No, he does not. Finally brought down on the play by hard-hitting Mike Adams, who played in the Super Bowl last year for Denver. It's a 7-yard catch and run by Forsett. So the defense of Baltimore stopping moments ago the Colts on a goal-to-go situation. The deflected ball and into the grasp of the rookie Mosley. We're going to start the 4th quarter with Baltimore facing 3rd and 3. That Colt defense has been good today. I mean, real good.
Hold the Ravens to 3 points through 3 quarters of football. It's been outstanding.
Flacco to the side, dropped on the play. The coverage by Davis. They were going for Smith. It's 4th and 3, and Baltimore's got a punt.
Boy, Vontae Davis has played well too, Kevin. I mean, they're playing a ton of man-to-man coverage. The single high safety, and these corners have really held up throughout.
Whalen is back. Sam Cook, all-time Raven punter. Griff Whalen wrapped up and brought down. And there was a fumble on the play. As you can see, the hit was by Shockey Brown as they try to unravel the bodies. This is a big one.
Well, first of all, he should have fair caught that ball. That was a dangerous field net. Knowing he was going to get hit as soon as he catches it. The question is, Kevin, whether his knee is going to be down. The ball clearly comes out, but I think his knee may be down.
Baltimore's got it. Wow. Whalen turns it over. Second turnover in this half. 3rd for the game. Both teams have fumbled a punt. Looks like McClellan has come up with the ball.
We'll definitely take a look at
the
this
ruling
one.
on the field is that the receiver caught the ball, advanced, then fumbled, recovered by the kicking team, first down.
Boy, it's so hard to tell whether his knee is down, but then you see the ball come loose there at the end. You're going to question the decision to try and field this.
Brown wrapping him up. How about the elbow, which was holding in the arm that was holding the ball?
Well, it looks like the knee's down, and then that
They'll review it. There was a big hit by Jeremy Miles that was the sledgehammer, knocking it out of the grasp of Whalen. Now the question is, was he down? We're under review. Well, we're under review here. Whalen was back there, and an avalanche of special teamers for the Ravens came and hit him and knocked the ball away. And Walt Anderson has looked at it and conferred with New York, and we're going to confer with our guy in New York, Mike, in just 1 second.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands as called. First down.
Mike Carey is in New York, and they are going to give it to Baltimore. Mike Carey, what'd you think?
Well, I think that was the right call, that this should stand as called on the field. You never get a real clear shot that's indisputable whether the ball was loose or whether the knee was down at the same time. And, of course, forward progress is not a reviewable aspect of this play.
Mike, thank you. Bernard Pierce on 1st and 10. Walden around his ankles. The gain to the 8. He picks up 3.
Well, it's time for the Ravens to do something with this opportunity, Kevin. You know, they've struggled all day offensively, and the defense has kept them in it. Special teams has made a big play here. And now can Gary Kubiak and this offense do something with it?
Let's see if that Indianapolis defense can be like Baltimore's and hold them out.
Yeah, a field goal here would be huge. Would be a win for this Colts defense.
2nd down, 7 to the end zone with Davis defending. It shoots over the head of Smith. Incomplete. Davis, by the way, has not allowed a touchdown reception since week 14 of last season for the Colts. He was covering Smith that time.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Flacco just throws that one away or not. That one sailed over the head of Steve Smith.
3rd and 7.
Well, you're going to get man-to-man.
Force set in the backfield.
All out.
They are coming. Incomplete. Looking for Owen Daniels, and the coverage on the play by Mike Adams. It's incomplete near the 5, and the defense of the Colts hold out Flacco.
Well, you could see it. It was all out pressure. Flacco knew it was coming, and it just takes a while. He's trying to hold it, but good coverage there on the tight end
by the safety.
Mike Adams has really played well, Kevin, here the last couple weeks. He is right in the back pocket of Owen Daniels.
So here comes Tucker trying a 27-yarder. He made a 52-yarder right before halftime. And a new score to report from Indianapolis, and a good one with the roof now closed. Just into the 4th quarter. The Colts keep him out of the end zone, but they do get 3. A 7-point game, 13:56. Thursday, your football week starts right here when the Colts and the Texans meet in Houston. Another big-time matchup in prime time. Thursday night football on CBS and NFL Network. With a look at one of the best defensive players of this generation, J.J. Watt.
Kevin, you could make the argument that he is one of the favorites for the MVP candidate. I mean, you know, you don't see defensive players, but this guy has been incredible this season. Already 2 touchdowns, a receiving touchdown, 80-yard interception return. He's been all over the place for the Houston Texans.
Whalen is back there after the fumble of a punt, muffed it, and here's the ensuing kickoff after Tucker knocked one in from 27 yards away. Out of the end zone it goes. It'll be 1st and 20. Let's go down to Brad Johansson.
Guys, it may have seemed like a long 3rd quarter to you. It certainly seemed that way on the Ravens sideline. Very little communication, very little emotion. Joe Flacco, most of the time while he was off the field, sat by himself after a quick meeting with Gary Kubiak. And again, it's been all Baltimore defense. The offense that Flacco came in and talked to us about just yesterday that was working so well is frustrating everybody on this sideline. Kev?
But I'll say this, Brad, Baltimore has been held to only 1 of 9, 3rd down. That Colt defense has played very well this afternoon against a very good Baltimore. Number 7 coming in to the first month. Here we go now after the field goal. T.Y. Hilton is getting a block outside by Wayne. A flag is down. Knocked out of play by Jimmy Smith was Hilton, and a gain of 2 to the 22-yard line.
Holding number 87, offense. 10-yard penalty, still first down.
Is that the 2nd penalty on Wayne today? I believe it is. Well, you don't see that very much.
Well, you don't see him grab and tackle very much either, but you can see that here.
Don't sugarcoat it.
Just watch the end of it right here. He is going to grab right in the middle there and tackle Matt Elam.
It is a spot foul. Thus, back at the 11, 1st and 19.
Right 5-1. Right 5-1.
5 defensive backs for the Raven D.
Another penalty.
Yep. This is off to Richardson. He was grabbed by Mosley at the pick the last time. That is a 3-yard pickup. 14. This is against the Ravens. This penalty is coming up.
Offside, number 55, defense. Lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Very quiet Terrell Suggs, who, by the way, is playing with a groin issue. Didn't even practice late in the week, but out there again today.
Well, there's no reason for that. Just to line up in the neutral zone. I mean, you can look over there at the line judge, and he'll help you out. But he's trying to get every inch of the football to make it difficult for left tackle Anthony Costanzo.
4 defensive backs here for Baltimore with a 1st and 14. That sounds weird from the 16-yard line. Blocked by Doyle. Time for Luck. Wide open. They got Kobe Fleener. Hit by Webb. Flag at the 35. Pickup up 30 on the play. The gain up 2 as it stands now, the 46.
Illegal contact, number 21, defense. Penalty is declined, result of the play, completed pass, first down.
That's Webb, who didn't play in the preseason when the league was putting the clamps on these defensive backs.
Well, they're doing everything they can to, and they've done it with tight ends. Jack Doyle's done a nice job. Kobe Fleener. They're interchangeable. We talked about Doyle's blocking now, and Fleener runs the deep cross. He's wide open between the corner and the safety.
Oh, through Luck's hands. 1st and 10, and he is buried at about the 36. He came up the middle. He loses 10 on the play. The snap from the rookie free agent Harrison with his first career start in the league today. High.
Well, that's what happens, Kevin, when you start changing out centers. A.Q. Shipley played last week. Jonathan Harrison, college free agent, a rookie. He's in there. That one came back high and hot.
Was that performance, or was that just a size issue? Harrison being tall.
I just think it was a performance issue.
57, rock way.
Shipley had been starting all season for the injured Holmes. 2nd down and 20. Shirless with the block on Doomerville. Caught by Allen. Deep downfield to the 36 with the tackle made by Terrence Brooks. It is a first down. Spot him at the 37. 28-yard pickup.
Well, what a terrific throw here by Andrew Luck. Just going to see the tight end. He works right down the middle of the field. You talk about being able to fit it into tight windows. Over the linebacker, in between the other linebacker coming from the other side. What a terrific throw by Luck. It's always, what a nice deal to have a big tight end screaming down the middle of the field.
They got 3 of them. 243 passing yards for Luck today. 1st and 10. Here comes Richardson. Shedding tacklers and ping-ponging his way down to about the 31. Hit by a host, including Smith. Let's go to New York. Boomer and James.
Boomer, bend it like Beckham. Well, Beckham Jr., Odell Beckham Jr., 4 catches, 44 yards in this touchdown pass. Look at these hands, goes right up and gets it. Giants take the lead by virtue of the 2 touchdowns, 24-20 over the Falcons. Kevin Harlan.
Beckham had the hamstring. He hadn't really played that much. I know it. It's amazing. High pick, and he missed all of preseason.
Well, it's good to get the first rounder out there. Didn't take him long to make an impact.
2nd down and 4. After the 28-yard pass, downfield, Hakeem Nicks. Speaking of the Giants, how about that guy? He had some good seasons with New York. He's brought down. 16-yard pickup on the play. Webb is the one to get him at the 14.
Well, look at Webb. Look at the cushion. He's got his back turned. He's in a bail technique. He's a guy that hasn't played a lot. Hasn't had a lot of reps. Hasn't had that strength in his lower body, because of that back injury.
Nice response here by the Colts in lieu of that field goal moments ago by Baltimore. First and 10. Here they come. There he goes, chased by Suggs, who is like he's running on one leg. You could see him anguish in his chase. D'Angelo Tyson knocks him out of bounds. There is no gain, and he stays at about the 13, 14-yard line.
He's going to come out for a play. That's tough. It's tough to chase around a quarterback, be in a position to get a sack, and then he runs out the back door. You got to chase him another 20 yards. That's a physically demanding thing to have to do, to be able to rush a quarterback for 60 or 65 plays in a game.
There's looking over your back if you're running out the back door. Always over your shoulder.
I would say, you want to play quarterback in this league, you better have your head on a swivel.
Yeah, no kidding.
Particularly when you've got 55 and 58 bearing down on you.
Second and a long 9, Luck. Here he goes again. A 13-yard touchdown run by Andrew Luck. The NFL's leading passer does it with his legs in his second rushing touchdown this season.
He's made a couple big plays with his legs, and he's gotten very skinny in the whole sneaking out. And then, of course, he's a big man, and he can run. He's got that. He's got the ability to win for you in and out of the pocket and make big plays with his legs.
What a response! 8-play, 80-yard drive, Rich. 5 minutes on the clock, and Luck. He'll take it in with Vinatieri tacking on another. Slowly but surely, the Colts are pulling away at 8:56 to go in the fourth. Andrew Luck, the top passer, takes it in for 6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Aflac, official partner of the Heisman Trophy. Walmart, save money, live better. And by Ram Trucks, guts, glory, Ram.
Colt quarterback Andrew Luck with a touchdown pass and a touchdown run. Vinatieri field goals. And the defense of Indianapolis, led by coordinator Greg Minuski, has been terrific. The ensuing kickoff, and Jones lets it sail over his head. Here comes Flacco. Tomorrow, see why critics are calling the new hit drama Scorpion brainy fun. Scorpion tomorrow at 9, 8 Central after the Big Bang Theory only, CBS.
Well, Kevin, you mentioned the Griff Whalen fumble. The defense of the Colts go out, find a way to hold the Ravens to a field goal. They get the ball back. Colts go 8 plays, 80 yards in 5 minutes.
You have a pretty important drive here by Flacco.
They need to get something going. There's got to be a sense of urgency from Flacco and the Ravens.
He's only one of his last 5. He goes low right here, and Jackson was honing in on Daniels to the 26 and a gain of 6 on first down.
And sometimes when you're struggling offensively, it helps to go into the no huddle. And even at this point in the game, to kind of get yourself some rhythm and make it a little bit more difficult for Minuski and the Colts to make those substitutions and to dial up those pressures.
Forsett is in. Second down and 4. And that is intercepted. Flag is down. Darius Butler. Brought down by Torrey Smith. That's a 7-yard return. Let's see what that flag is all about at midfield. Maybe against the Colts.
Pass interference, number 21, defense. First down.
That's Don Vontae Davis, who is called right there. Former number 1 pick by Miami and traded to the Colts a couple years ago.
Well, at the top of your screen, he's just going to, right there. You just can't, you can't do that. You can't grab him 10 yards down the field. That was an easy call for the official.
A 25-yard penalty into the nickel. Flacco from the 49, first and 10. Jacoby Jones, and he breaks the tackle of Toller, and then he's bumped out of bounds by Gordy. That's the first time they have thrown to him in almost 3 games. It's only the 4th catch of the year. Jacoby Jones racing for 30 yards.
Well, remember now, Kevin, he's dropped some balls earlier in the year, and of course he muffed the punt. He's not been returning punts. Ladarius Webb has been doing it, but this was a terrific play by Jacoby just to kick out of that missed tackle by Toller. Huge play for the Ravens.
Comes up huge is right. You're right. He's had some drop passes. Only played 7 snaps against Carolina last week. 1st and 10 inside. Now they go for another receiver, Kamar Aiken, out of Central Florida. His 6th catch of the season. He's their 5th receiver. He picks up a quick 8.
Well, they look so much different now. You know, they just all of a sudden sometimes it just takes a play or two to kind of get you back in rhythm. A big play.
It's the no huddle.
It's the no huddle. It's been good.
They've scaled back on the no huddle under Kubiak from the 11. 2nd down and 2. Forsett. Big time block Osemele. That is a touchdown. And the Ravens are back in business. An 11-yard touchdown run. Justin Forsett.
Well, they do a good job. You watch the center and the right guard. They're going to come off the ball, and they take on the double team. They push the nose right back into the linebackers. That was too easy for Justin Forsett.
Osemele blocked 2 guys on the same play, both big.
They did a really nice job there.
4-play, 80-yard drive. The no huddle being executed to perfection by Flacco. 7:16 to go. Tucker puts it through. And a new score in Indianapolis, 2013. It's the Colts on top. Justin Forsett, his 3rd rushing touchdown this season. Justin Forsett has been around. He's had some time with Seattle, had a very short time down in Houston with Gary Kubiak, the current Baltimore offensive coordinator.
Yeah, 4 runs of 20 yards or more, 2nd most in the league coming into today's game. And sometimes these smaller backs, they get lost behind that big offensive line. It makes it very difficult for those linebackers and safeties to even find them, to even track them, and be able to locate them.
Ravens with the kickoff, and Tucker. Whalen will bring it out 9 yards deep, 9.5 yards deep, and runs into his own blocker, Doyle and McNary.
That would bother me if I was Andrew Luck. I mean, the ball, Kevin's 9 yards deep in the end zone. Had great hang time.
When Week 5 continues later today on CBS, you'll see some pretty good games, and on Fox for some of you. Then tonight with Sunday Night Football on NBC, and tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN and Westwood One Radio with Boomer Esiason. And yours truly. Wayne has been shut out since midway through the 2nd quarter. He's had a couple penalties. Blown on 2, the celebrated wide receiver for the Colts. 1st and 10.
Good 60!
Bradshaw. Mosley brings him down near the 21 in a burst of 5 for the Colts.
When you look at the score, they're up by 7 with 6:55. I mean, it'd be great to put a nice 10-12 play drive here. All you're thinking, if you just come away with a field goal, any score here is going to make it very difficult on the Ravens, obviously.
2nd down, short 5, outside at about the 26-yard line with Webb defending Wayne, close to a 1st down, pick up a 5, and they'll give him the 1st down. We need to remember that the Colts are the #1 team in the league coming into today in time of possession.
And they've been so good, and particularly in the 4th quarter, Kevin, they've been a good finishing team. And if I'm Andrew Luck, I just can't afford to make a mistake in this situation. Can't take a sack, can't turn the football over. Punting is not the end of the world, especially in light of how well our defense has played today.
5 defensive backs. Bradshaw in, 1st and 10 for Luck. Here they come with the blitz. Low and uncatchable for Nix. The coverage on the play by Smith as they were bringing Matt Elam from the corner. And he's down.
And Bradshaw does a really nice job cross-keying. He's going to come all the way across the formation, and he's going to block Matt Elam here. He just cuts him.
And then he had Guy landing on him.
That's why Bradshaw's in there. Talk about how good of a receiver he is out of the backfield. Also a very good personal protector. Understands the protections. We talk about cross-keying. He starts on the right. He works all the way back across the line to pick up the edge rusher.
Both defenses have been solid this afternoon, but the Ravens have had turnover problems. 3. They had just 3 turnovers total for the first month of the year, but they've got 3 today. Flacco's been sacked 3 times. First time he's been sacked since week 1. They've gotten a 52-yard field goal from Tucker and a 27-yarder from Tucker, and moments ago an 11-yard touchdown run by the running back Forsett. Luck has had a running touchdown and a tight end touchdown pass to Allen. Good to see Elam coming up, but it's like he's favoring that right arm. John Harbaugh goes out there.
He won't be out very long. You wouldn't think.
Former first-round pick out of Florida, had a good game against Carolina. He had struggled the week before against the Browns.
He just needs to play with more consistency. I mean, he's an instinctive playmaker, just hasn't been able to make enough plays. He's a safety that has some corner cover skills.
Replacing him is Shockey Brown. 2nd and 10. Pocket crumbles. Bradshaw. Mosley brings him down. No gain on the play. They'll stay at the 26.
That's why you go out and draft Mosley with your first-round pick.
Is he something or what?
Like this.
Oh, my goodness.
When he gets his hands around you, you're going to go down.
Do you see any remnants of the Reed, Ray Lewis influence on this defense? Still remnants?
Oh, I
of
think
what
so. I think there's a culture and an environment that exists in that defensive meeting room in terms of how we practice, how we prepare, and how we play.
Seeing that kid play, there's a lot of upside with him, huh?
He has spent a lot of time listening to Terrell Suggs tell stories about Ray Lewis.
Luck on 3rd and 10. Dumerville had a hand on him but couldn't grab onto him, and they go deep, and it's caught. Reggie Wayne working on Brown, who is in, of course, for the injured Elam. A 28-yard pickup down to the 45 of the Baltimore Ravens.
I really think he's throwing this ball to Kobe Fleener.
Really?
It just gets away from him.
Oh, my God.
And there's Reggie Wayne.
I think you're right.
You talk about a little unexpected good fortune. We saw it last week from the Ravens. Joe Flacco throws the ball intended for Owen Daniels, and it gets tipped, and it falls right into the hands of Steve Smith. Very similar play this week with the Colts.
1st and 10, Bradshaw. Nada and a bunch of others in there, bringing him down. No gain on the play. Staying at the 45, but we may ask Luck after the game, and he would say,
that was the sign.
Yeah.
I can only tell you from experience, Kevin, and trust me, I throw enough interceptions to know that doesn't happen very often. Usually when you miss a tight end and you're high, it usually winds up in the hands of a corner or safety. Very fortunate in that situation.
We're going to get into the part of the game now where you're going to manage your timeouts.
Yeah, absolutely. You look, we're inside 4 minutes now, and Ravens need a big stopper or turnover here.
They have 3. Colts have 3. 3.5-minute drive orchestrated so far by the quarterback, and everybody moved except the guy that was going to snap the ball, Harrison.
Well, here's the second mistake. We saw the first mistake was when he snapped it early.
76 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Rock, 5-1, rock!
Everybody moves except the center. What happened?
So
wait a second. Did we go on 2 or 3?
You can only
get that
imagine.
Straightened out. That's embarrassing.
Hey, he looks up and he sees Nada and he sees Brandon Williams. He's going, McPhee. I mean, my gosh.
Well, we're laughing, but look at it now. They're in a situation now. They're going backwards.
McPhee right in the middle there. 2nd and 15. Luck with time. Right on the money. Caught by T.Y. Hilton. He's down to the 29. Picks up 21. A laser thrown by Luck. 1st down, Indy.
Well, that's a huge throw by Andrew Luck. Good protection. He's going to run that dig route, the little in route, and T.Y. Hilton Does a terrific job creating some cushion at the top of that cut.
He was working on Webb. Luck is over 300 yards for a third consecutive week, and that clock continues to go, and the Ravens with 3 timeouts. With a 1st and 10, this is Bradshaw pulling his Sherwood, blocked by the tight end Allen. That opens the door. He's brought down on the play by Brooks, hurdling his way to the 19. Ahmad Bradshaw with a gain of about 9, maybe 10. Let's see, and Brooks is down again. Second time he's been laid out. Clock at 2:41. And the boos are coming out because they think maybe these guys are not legitimately hurt. But you can see with Bradshaw working way in. Yeah, he's going to take it right in the chops.
Knee right in the face.
Yep. 10-yard run by Bradshaw.
He's taking a couple of big hits today.
So Wayne caught one from Luck, good for 28. Hilton caught one and across it, 21 yards downfield, a run by Bradshaw. It began on the 16, 2:41 to go. And the ball now at the 19 of the Ravens.
Well, the Colts now can milk the clock some, Kevin, and force the Ravens to start burning some of those timeouts before the 2-minute warning.
The defense has been out there a long time, Rich.
Yeah, they're getting worn down. Talk about time of possession, how important it's been in this game.
Colts have 27 more snaps than Baltimore so far.
Yeah, that really, you really start to feel it late in the game now.
5-1.
It's the 9th play of the drive and a 1st and 10.
Go. Red 70. What's that?
Brooks is in, 4 in the secondary. Bradshaw, he slithers down to the 7. Brooks got him again. Now make it the tackle by Miles. A 12-yard gain. Bradshaw has been huge. He's played in a couple Super Bowls for the Giants. He knows big games. This, for week 5, is a pretty important one. The 2-minute warning. The Indianapolis Colts kicked off Breast Cancer Awareness Month by hosting the Pinking of the Canal event for the 4th consecutive year on Friday. Pink dye poured into the Ohio Street Basin of the canal. This is all part of the NFL's National Official Catch Campaign. 1st and goal, 2-minute warning at the 8-yard line. This is Bradshaw, who's had a couple runs on this drive of 12 and 10, and they've been huge. It's a loss of a yard. A bunch of guys knock them back. Timeout Baltimore. They've got 2. 1:56 to go. And all Flacco can do is watch, hoping for another chance with the ball.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing day. As you mentioned, Kevin, not a lot of opportunities for the Baltimore offense, just 49 snaps.
Rich, the Colts took over at their 16 with about 7:16 left. 28-yard pass to Wayne on 3rd and 9. Upcoming the 11th play of this drive. So the team that has led in total time of possession coming into this game, the Colts, are showing it when they need it most here at the end.
Really good. #1 ball control team in the league, just under 36 minutes a game. And the thing that really hurt Baltimore, Kevin, obviously the 3 turnovers, but 3rd down, just 1 of 9 on 3rd down offensively.
It's 2nd and goal at the 10. Bradshaw. Net. Oh, and a fumble and recovered by Let's see here. They haven't given Baltimore. Yep, it's picked up by Baltimore and Brooks, the rookie.
Matt Elam rips it out.
That is the 2nd red zone turnover today by Indianapolis.
The one cardinal sin. The one thing you can't do is fight for extra yardage in a situation like this. Terrific play by Matt Elam.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. And by Subway Restaurants. Get to Subway for the Meatball Marinara, the $5 footlong of October.
The Colts have turned it over 4 times. Bradshaw deep in Raven territory moments ago. Ravens with 3 turnovers. And Flacco in his own 11 in 2 timeouts, down by 7.
Really just a great opportunity here. Kevin, we talked about the Ravens. Haven't done a whole lot today, struggled offensively, but what an unbelievable opportunity to get the ball back with 1:49, 2 timeouts to go. You need a big play. You need a play of 15, 18, 20 yards somewhere in this drive.
Colts will be in the nickel, 1st and 10 for Flacco.
Can't take a sack.
Down! Sacked again. And Ferner, who had no sacks coming into today, taking the place of the injured Robert Mathis with his 2nd sack, the 4th authored by the Colt defense, a loss of 8.
Well, he just blows up the left tackle. I mean, that wasn't even close. James Hurst, the rookie, taking the place of Eugene Monroe, gets walked right back into the quarterback.
Baltimore taking a timeout. 1 left for them. Look at the quarterback sacks today by that NDD.
Well, John Harbaugh does the right thing there, Kevin. You can't burn. There's other ways to stop the clock. You got to take the timeout. Get the receivers back. It takes too long to get the receivers and everybody back lined up.
Hurst could not hold off Werner. Hurst is from nearby Plainfield, Indiana. That is 30 minutes away. He used to come to many Colt games growing up. He's a rookie free agent in North Carolina. He needs to hold his water here. 2nd down and 18. They need the 21. It's underneath the 4th set. Freeman is out there. Also hit by Vontae Davis. He works his way to about the 17-yard line, and he picks up 15 on the play. It's 3rd and 3. Flacco. Torrey Smith dropped it. Incomplete at the 25. And the coverage on the play by Toller. It is 4th and 3 for the Ravens.
Boy, it's a catch you've got to make. Not Bradshaw can't even bring himself to watch this one.
They need the 21. 4th and 3. Flacco. Owen Daniels with the catch. Freeman brings him down. 18-yard pickup. Put him up at the 36 and a 1st down.
That was a big throw there by Joe Flacco to his tight end Owen Daniels, matched up on the linebacker Jarrell Freeman.
1 timeout. 1st and 10. Flacco. And that's in the hands of Forsett. You may have heard the footsteps of Jarrell Freeman. 2nd and 10.
It doesn't hurt you. Got to find a way to get the ball down the field towards the boundary. Across the midfield so they can take a couple shots at the end zone. Joe Flacco's just got to be smart, Kevin. You cannot take a sack with just the 1 timeout left.
5 defensive backs. Gordy is in for Butler. 2nd down and 10.
Oh, here comes pressure.
There goes Flacco, chased by Freeman. Flacco going downfield and looking for Brown. And
he almost had him.
Brown was covered by Brown. Marlin was covered by Sergio. 3rd and 10.
Well, really nice play. You're going to see the pressure, and Flacco's going to get outside. And he makes a terrific effort here just to even escape the pressure, gather himself, and make a heck of a heave. Oh, man, it was close.
Oh, it was so close.
Marlon Brown just couldn't get to it.
3rd and 10.
Again, same blitz.
They go inside to Torrey Smith, who is grabbed by Toller and brought down at the 42. 43. Picks up 7. Timeout burned. That's it for Baltimore. They're empty. 32 seconds to play in regulation. on a 7-yard completion to Torrey Smith, which brings up 4th and 3. All right, Rich, take us inside that conversation.
Well, you'd love to be able to complete a ball towards the boundary and get out of bounds, but first and foremost, Kevin, you got to find a way to make the first down. No question about that. But, you know, this may be an opportunity to take a shot. You know what I mean? Put all your chips on the table and take a shot. Find a way to get Torrey Smith maybe matched up against the safety. You're probably going to see some type of two-deep look by the Colts. If you can block him up and give Flacco some time, you may want to go after.
No timeouts. 4th and 3.
Oh, there it is. You got him.
He sure does. Looking for Smith. And tipped away by Toller. Oh, what a play. On downs it goes back to the Colts with a big-time defensive play by Greg Toller from Hyattsville, Maryland.
Well, they got the matchup that they wanted, and a little bit better throw here by Joe Flacco. Torrey Smith actually has to slow up just a tad, and it's enough for Toller to be able to make a play.
Just by the skin of his nail.
Well, they got the matchup that they wanted.
This is it. Victory formation. 4 turnovers for the Colts, 3 turnovers for the Ravens. Baltimore's 3-game winning streak has come to a close. The Colts have now won 3 consecutive games. And unlike a given-up lead against Philadelphia on Monday night here a couple weeks ago, they hold on. They beat Flacco and the Rugged Ravens by a count of make it 20-13. Andrew Luck had a touchdown run and a touchdown pass. And a big one for the Colts. Coming up next, game 2 of our NFL on CBS doubleheader. Rich Gannon and Brad Johansson. Kevin Harlan saying so long from Indianapolis. You've been watching the NFL on CBS. Coming up next, an NFL Today update from New York.